All right, so we have Jared Blade with us. He's a first-year medical student. And Jared, from where do you hail?
I'm from Ankeny, Iowa, which is just north of Des Moines.
Okay.
Sweet. So yeah, what we'd like to ask you today is, how'd you get here?
Sure. So my journey to medical school kind of began in high school, mainly through just an interest in science and biology in particular. Then when I came to Iowa for undergrad, that kind of led me to like a human phys major, and then I later added bio, and kind of in that process of going through undergrad, I became really interested in medicine, which kind of goes back to high school again. I had a big shoulder surgery in high school, and I thought the whole recovery process, and then the fact that they could like completely fix my shoulder and make it like better than my other shoulder was just like really fascinating to me.
Wow, even better?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it's like,
That's awesome.
definitely my good shoulder now.
I should bring my shoulder. Both of them.
Okay. Pro tips from the pod.
But so then kind of like making the decision to apply to medical school wasn't really difficult for me. I already had an interest in teaching. I did a lot of teaching in undergrad, and being a doctor, like fundamentally you're a teacher.
Yeah.
You're either teaching medical students or the community, or even just one-on-one with your patients, and that's something I wanted to continue to do.
That's awesome. What kind of teaching did you do?
In undergrad, I TA'd a human biology lab for 5 semesters.
Nice.
And then if anybody's familiar with supplemental instruction, it's kind of like a small group, collaborative learning option that's attached to different classes. So I did that for 5 semesters too. And I would recommend trying to teach to anybody who wants to, one, like get really good at a subject in general, because just teaching it, you really like internalize the fundamentals of whatever topic you're teaching.
Yeah.
Right.
And what did you find most difficult about teaching, and what did you find most rewarding?
I'd say the most difficult thing right away is you have to like build skills for trying to like tailor the teaching to both the people that are doing really well and already excelling. They already have a good idea of what's going on, and then also tailoring the teaching to the people who are struggling or it's not coming as easy to, because there can be like 2 kind of extremes and you're trying to teach to both at the same time. So kind of coming up with techniques and like learning strategies that can benefit both groups. And for example, so then like incorporating teaching into the classroom then, because then the people who already have a good understanding can help teach and share their ideas with people who don't quite have the understanding. And then in that process, both groups are benefiting, one from teaching and one from kind of like getting another iteration of that information. The things I thought was most rewarding was, well, one, you get to learn a lot, as I mentioned, but also right away I got a lot better at just talking in front of groups of people.
Right.
Because you're kind of just like thrown into it, and it can be a little weird or nerve-wracking to begin with, but just like really quickly you get good at like just showing up and knowing you'll be able to come up with like whatever you need to say, and be able to like get through all the information.
Nice.
It's awesome.
A little bit more.
A little more? Okay. Cool. So, I guess so one more question, another question.
Sure.
So, like here at medical school, what's something that surprised you in a good way?
What surprised me most right away is kind of like it's totally different, the culture from undergrad, and right away everybody's like on the same team.
Yeah.
Instead of kind of in undergrad, you're kind of competing with each other, and right away it's like completely different. Everybody's trying to share all of their little tidbits of information and everything they know and their strategies for like learning that particular material. And it's like kind of night and day different. Like everybody wants to share their resources and materials, which you don't really see quite as much in undergrad.
Got it.
And I know none of us have gone to any other medical schools, but perhaps would you be able to compare other people's experience in medical school to that of the students here at Carver? I mean, it's been my experience that it's been very collaborative here and very helpful, just like you were saying.
Yeah.
And I wonder if I'm sure that's different amongst different medical schools.
Yeah, I'm not sure about other schools, but what I can say is when I did SI here as an undergrad, that's like the point of SI, is it's collaborative. It's not required. Nobody has to go. So the people who are going, like, you're all trying to learn together, and it's like all small group based learning activities. And they've shown, like, through research in SI that, like, students who attend and go to these small collaborative based things, like, do better in terms of their grades in the courses. And you can kind of see how like the University of Iowa in general, from undergrad all the way to the medical school, kind of tries to incorporate that collaborative learning, and it's a huge benefit compared to like being isolated and trying to do everything by yourself. I think that like independent learning is still like first, you got to do that first. A lot of people forget that, like you got to do the independent learning, but after you do that, then sharing your ideas with other people, you get you learn really quickly what you do have a really good understanding of and what you don't, when you kind of get to like articulate it to somebody else.
Yeah, it's cool. It sounds like you put a lot of thought into this, and it sounds like has it been fun? Of course, it's been very busy, but have you had some fun as well along the way?
Definitely been a good time. Right from the beginning, all the people are awesome. I was surprised by just kind of like the makeup of the class and how I guess you don't really know what to expect and how what everybody's gonna be like, but you can tell that the admissions committee is very careful on who they pick, and the personalities, and everybody in the whole class is great.
Yeah,
that's great. Did you take a gap year?
I took a gap semester.
Oh, I did too, actually.
Yeah, which I thought was perfect. A little bit of time off to kind of get like more clinical type experience, but not too much time where you forget how to study and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Felt the exact same way. It was nice being out of college when my friends were in college, because I could just go annoy them because I was working, right? So my afternoons were free and evenings, but
For sure.
Nice.
Cool. It was really great talking to you. Do you have any rapid fire questions, Kyle, or are you good?
Whole milk 2% or almond milk?
Whole milk all day.
Okay. All right, so this is Olivia Chase. She's a second-year medical student here.
Hi, guys. How are you doing?
Good. Doing good. How are you?
I'm great, except for, I don't know if you can hear my voice. It's a little scratchy right now.
Okay. I can't hear in general.
It's okay. That's real. And medical school is real.
It is. You get sick sometimes. Sorry.
Well, cool.
Olivia, from where do you hail?
I am from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Excellent. Excellent choice.
Yes, I had a choice in that.
Yeah.
So, Olivia, we have some questions for you.
Go for it.
Tell us about your journey to medical school. What brought you here? What was your motivation to go into medicine?
Yeah, so my mom is originally from Guam, which, if you don't know where it is, it's a tiny island in the North Pacific, and there's a lot of indigenous groups there. And so I had the opportunity, one winter break, to work in the public health office there and just sort of see how people of different cultures interact with physicians. And for me, one of the things that stood out was cultural competence. So that really made me want to go into medicine. Before, a lot of it was for the science. I really like stuff, the scientific aspect of medicine, but really being in that public health internship really showed me that, like, about all of the humanism behind medicine and how I could bring my perspective and sort of help other people.
Nice. So you found with that experience, you saw that an opportunity perhaps to be particularly effective in that way.
Yeah.
Nice. Very
That's
cool.
awesome.
Did you take a gap year?
I did. I took 2 gap years. So I did research part-time, and I also scribed part-time in an ER. For me, it was perfect because it gave me the opportunity to make a little bit more money and then also travel before I got into school.
That's great. Where'd you travel?
I went to South America for 2 months right before school, and then I also went to Guam for a month. So.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're really making use of the whole global health stuff. I heard you won an award recently in global health.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, I actually got to go to Brazil this past summer to do research on a parasite disease. So that was awesome.
Right on. Right on.
Any rapid fire questions, Kyle?
Yes, whole milk 2% or almond milk.
Oh, I've heard you gave this question the last time. Almond. But chocolate if it's after workout.
Okay.
Okay.
Solid.
Have you ever been in a situation where there was a car in front of you and you hit it and announced where it was from?
Yeah, I maybe can get a little
enthusiastic about your
where
the
I'm
place you
from.
come
I'm
from.
really proud.
Choice, as
I'm
Kyle
really
said.
proud to be from Minnesota.
Yeah.
It was a good choice.
We're proud that you're from Minnesota too.
Yeah.
We're proud. You
Skull Vikes.
You be grateful, we'll be proud.
Perfect.
All right. Well, it was great talking to you.
Thank
for
you,
being
guys.
here.
Yeah, thank you, Olivia.
So now we've got Kyle Grover, a second-year medical student here. So we've got two Kyles, and I'm extremely confused. Honestly, I don't know which one is which. So Kyle, you're gonna have to ask the questions.
Go ahead, Kyle.
All right.
Ask the questions.
Oh gosh.
So, Kyle, from where do you hail?
I'm from Dyersville, Iowa originally. And I went to undergrad at Wartburg College, and then I came here.
Cool.
Excellent. Excellent. Good choice.
Thanks. It's a good place.
Would you describe your journey as Dyer to get?
Yes.
I'm sure you've never heard. I'm sure you've never heard that.
It was very
one before.
perilous getting
of course.
here. Yes.
Yeah, tell us a bit more about it.
Yeah, so growing up, my dad's a veterinarian, and so I spent a lot of time around medicine, just not with people, and that's really what got me interested in medicine in general. Spent a lot of time taking care of sick cows, but I just found that I really like being around people, and so that's kind of what drew me in. So I did a lot of shadowing in high school with my family physician, and then so I kind of came into undergrad knowing that that was my plan. I wasn't really sure how it would look. I thought about optometry, physical therapy, and medicine, and ultimately I decided that medicine was what I was really interested in, just through taking like biochem and anatomy and shadowing and stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of my general path, I would say.
Did you take a gap year?
I did not take a gap year, no. I was afraid that if I took a year off of school, I would maybe not be like ready to get back into school again, because after you get through undergrad, it's kind of a grind a little bit, and so I was like, man, I think if I stop, I just might not get back into it. So I just tried to push straight through. But I did, I graduated in December, so I did have like 6 months, I guess, where I was off. So I had one less semester, which was pretty nice.
Oh, that's nice.
So I guess I took a half a gap year.
A gap semester.
Yeah,
A gap
actually I did that too.
Yeah,
So.
which I thought was nice. It is kind of good to have a break.
Yeah, just a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So tell me about something so getting into med school, tell me about something that surprised you, hopefully in a good way.
Oh, in a good way. That's a tough one. Something that surprised me, I think, was that the interviews were not as stressful as I thought. Going into the first one, I was very nervous, and it wasn't that bad. And then after you get through the first one, you're like, okay, these are all kind of the same. I can do this.
So here at Iowa, they do a thing where it's you and two faculty members in a room. So it's like a 2-on-1 interview. And that sounds really intimidating if you think about it. But once you get in there, at least my experience was, they're both really nice.
And the first thing they do is they pour you a glass of water.
They're like required to. And it feels like some ritual.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
I have another question. Can you look at a cow and tell if they're sick or not? Just by looking at them?
You can get a good idea. A lot of times they'll lay down if they're sick, which cows don't always do. Or you can see like they'll get like labored breathing, and like start drooling, weird stuff like that. It'd be like the same as if somebody comes in with the flu and you can kind of like look at them and be like, huh, you look kind of sick. But I would say it is, the one thing about being a vet is harder is it's kind of like taking care of kids, and like they can't always tell you what's wrong.
Right.
So that can be something that's a little different about veterinary medicine.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we haven't had that much clinical experience yet, but we have had these short rotations where we go in. So like if you think about your ECE and comparing that to being a vet, what's the biggest difference you observed between working human and cow patients?
there's no interview. It's really just the physical exam.
Oh, okay. You don't really go through the whole
No, there's
steps
not
that
a
we
lot of
learn. It's
interview
not-
process.
Okay.
Do you let the cow know what you're going to do next? Do you let them anticipate?
How do you talk about
You
its
know-
ideas, its concerns, expectations?
If
Yeah.
you take out the whole humanism aspect of medicine and just make it strictly procedural, that's kind of what it's like.
Okay.
So imagine you just walked into the patient's room and then just started doing stuff and didn't say a word to them. That'd be kind of what it's like.
Yeah.
Those poor cows.
They don't get a lot of heads up.
Cool. So, yeah, do you have anything else, Kyle, to ask about? Something
do.
fast, maybe?
2% whole milk or almond milk?
2%.
All right. Well, thanks so much for being here, Kyle.
Yeah,
It was
appreciate
great,
it,
getting
guys.
to have you on here with Kyle, and I'm confused. Oh, hey. If you liked our video, please like and subscribe. And if you didn't like our video, dislike and subscribe.
But please, bring some helpful commentary.
Yeah, make sure to comment with your favorite raspberry tart recipe. That would help us out a lot.
That would be very helpful.
We're very hungry.